Thanks to their international network, neo-Nazis managed to circumvent the laws in force in their countries. Because of its more permissive legislation, Sweden has become a refuge for many extremists. Among them is Erik Blücher, the éminence grise of Blood and Honor Scandinavia. He is not a skinhead but a Nazi, a theoretician of the fight for the so-called white race.
Un homme invisible, la preuve vivante d'un réseau qui couvre toute l'Europe du Nord. Cible de son délire nationaliste, les jeunes des classes moyennes qu'il endoctrine comme ici à Molsjo, dans le sud du pays.
Previously, the leadership of the Nazi movement basically said, well, the skinheads, they are just, trash. We shouldn't bother about them. But Blücher said, this is the fastest growing white pan-European force of political soldiers. And he started promoting them, and he started supporting them. He has, over the years, written a number of texts like Hardcore Survival, linking up with both American and European Nazis. He is also a moneymaker for the movement.
Hello.
Hello, Erik Blücher?
Yes.
Yes, this is Daniel Schweitzer. I call you regarding our appointment in Helsingborg.
Yes, I know that you want to tape this now. So I want to talk to you first before we do that.
Okay.
Yes.
So we can have a meeting this evening? Yeah?
No, Daniel, please wait with taping till I can talk to you first.
He had never granted any interviews before. Erik Blücher agreed to meet us on condition that his face would not appear.
Our duty is not to create some sort of lifestyle, but rather to do politics. And that is why getting political, getting realistic, and getting onwards is the main thing now.
The interview was cut short. Blücher did not want to say more in front of the camera. His last words were, "Don't be over-intrusive." Now, there are only his texts published on the internet and his books to speak for him. As a theoretician of the movement, Blücher has translated and adapted American racist ideas. He has anticipated globalization by creating Blood and Honor Scandinavia. He also participated in the development of the movement in countries of the former Eastern Bloc, such as the Ukraine, Poland, Serbia, and Slovakia. He is a go-between, serving as a liaison with American neo-Nazis. Paradoxically, the toughening of European laws has contributed to the development of new synergies with America, the country that guarantees freedom of speech in its First Amendment. Racial segregation was outlawed in the South in the 60s, and blacks are fully fledged citizens. But 50 years on, new racists are making themselves heard with proposals for a return to the past. Since the 80s, right extremist groups have figured in numerous reports of acts perpetrated against the state and democracy. After 9/11, however, America has apparently already turned this page of its history. The country is no longer concerned with the enemies within. Officially, the threat is elsewhere.
In the period following the civil rights movement, the Black Power movement, the anti-war movement, there was a real sort of backing off from the very flagrant, blatant expressions of racism. Over the last 10 to 15 years, well, maybe 20 years, from the time of Reagan, Bush 1, including during the Clinton years, and now, and certainly now during Bush 2, they've really taken the gloves off and people are articulating things that 15 or 20 years ago they would not comfortable saying. So I think the situation is worsening in the United States.
Well, Susan, the leader of the White Aryan Resistance denies having anything to do with the bombing of the federal building 3 months ago. And tonight in Fallbrook, he told me no one affiliated with his group is responsible either.
None of my friends had anything to do with that. What a ridiculous deal, throwing an overgrown firecracker at the front of the federal building.
His name regularly appears in, or is associated with, news items on violence in the US. Spreading his ideas of leaderless resistance to young people, he has developed a concept he names Lone Wolf, which encourages the creation of secret cells and the establishment of individual operatives prepared to go into action.
I don't think there's a great need to fight over it. Just keep doing something. Thank you. High power.
He also has numerous European contacts and knows Yaza well.
Greetings to all my friends in Europe and Finland and all around the continent. This is Tom Metzger speaking for WAR, White Aryan Resistance, and we wish you good luck and good hunting. And we hope you really enjoy this video, Kriegsrichter from Jassa. Sieg Heil!
Alors là, on va arriver près de Denison, là où habite Bart, dans son quartier. On continue tout droit. Et après le passage du train, tu tourneras à gauche, tu verras.
In this Racist America, the Kriegsberichte tape leads us to Blood and Honor's US leader. His name is Bart, and he distributes the video from Texas via the internet.
Le 1112.
This is going to be the Kriegsrichter 4 interface, and then the motion menus. Obviously, in preview you can't be on the motion thumbnails, right? But the motions will be into the thumbnails. Yeah, they'll be into the Celtic cross. Thumbnail. You can't tell any difference, right? So
when we arrived, he was transferring the old Kriegsberichte videos to DVD. I knew Bart. I'd already interviewed him in my last documentary, Skinhead Attitude. He has since created a veritable online propaganda enterprise, distributing everything that is banned in Europe.
well, I've sold over 1,000 Kriegsrichter 5s myself, and then I also resell. And one of my customers is from Switzerland, Spain. They buy them in bulk, so I'm shipping 50, 60 at a time, which has now changed because now I sell them the master DVD, and they make their copies from the master DVD, and they just give me an upfront one-time price. That's not my opinion, that, yeah, the white race is being bred out. Other races have more children than the white race. It's mathematical. I don't have any really personal feeling about it. And I've always told people about my involvement in the movement. It's all math to me.
They use statistics, predicting that whites will be in the minority in the US by 2050. Where there was once talk of white superiority, now the emphasis is on the disappearance of the white race. They now depict themselves as victims.
I have my own personal weapons, and I register them like I'm supposed to, but I'll use them. I have no... It's a matter of life or death for me. And as I said, it's not something that's tangible that I can touch and see right in front of me, but it's all around me, that instinct that, at any moment or over the course of time even, my color, my look, my heritage would not even be acknowledged. It would just cease to exist.
Oh, it's in the back of, it's right there in the back of the van. It's in the back of the van with lighter fluids in it.
What? Don't make me fucking bitch like you, dude. Tell me
Fearing otherness, some small American groups have come to harbor pessimistic views of the future. So they train for combat and for the survival of their race.
Now, from here you can see a lot of cool fossils. They're all in the rocks here.
Okay.
They train and they prepare themselves by creating ghost cells that can't be infiltrated.
Okay, for your legs.
The idea is that these well-organized groups could create chaos and thus encourage racial war.
Okay. I know this goes in here somehow.
This is rotated. Hold on.
Leaderless resistance is the perfect way for a radical movement to move around and act without anyone ever knowing who really did it. And the leaderless resistance was one of the main things that brought me closer into the movement because that idea was so perfect and right. Okay, I got it.
Yes, the way I went down was go to your right.
Positioning themselves for the great earthquake. If it comes, they're there to be a multiplier for the problems. And if it doesn't, they pull back, reconstitute their message, and go out and do it again. I think that's the other message for us to understand about the so-called lunatic fringe. These are people devoted to a vision. They do believe. They have a worldview. They live their life by that. They spend their money. They raise their children in that way. And that's deeply, deeply troubling and tragic in terms of every democratic society.
¿La clave del éxito empresarial?
Tenemos la ocasión de conocernos mucho más.
Es un grupo bien cohesionado.
Si las invitas a un Bacardi Breezer, son máquinas de follar.
Con el grado adecuado de intimidad.
Te estaba esperando, Richard.
Respeto mutuo.
Esta es una guerra y en la guerra no hay reglas.
Y cuyos miembros trabajen por un mismo objetivo. Desmembrados.
You can step over here. The chant as we get off the bus will be, if it's brown, flush it down.
Sounds kind of Jewish scatological.
If it's brown, flush it down, okay? That'll be the chant as we're getting off the bus. We'll continue that chant for a few minutes until everyone is off the bus.